Welcome to Honey, I Shrunk the Kitsch. We are in my remodeled dollhouse, which has not had a front door for quite some time. I still have the original. It used to have some printed plastic to look like a glass insert, but I think I have a different idea of what I want this door to look like. We'll start by measuring and cutting our new door. I have some of this thin MDF, might even have been a cabinet backing or something like that, that I'm going to use to trace a new door. Now, while this isn't always the case with fixer-upper projects, this is my childhood dollhouse that I built several years ago. And knowing how that original door came together and how it functioned is informing how I engineer this one. There is a reason why this door is made up of two panels that are glued together. So I want these dimensions to be exactly like the old one, and I do want it to have two sides. So we are going to go ahead and cut those out. Oh, look, that was easy. And now we are going to dry fit it against our original just to be sure. Even a difference of a 16th of an inch could make a big difference in whether this door actually fits. Because this is a remodeling project, the door frame is in place. The original hinge is still in place. And so I really need this door to be exact. And what do you know? It is precisely the width I want. It is two panels and it's the right dimensions. So, moving on. As part of my design, I want my new door to have white on the inside and black on the exterior. That will look nicer with just the finished room that it's opening into, as well as the outside of the house. So, we're going to start with the white here. Now, because I used pressboard or MDF to make these doors, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with MDF. Things that I love, especially when working with miniatures, it has more integrity as far as staying that shape over time. With plywood and other lower quality cuts of wood, you tend to get splintering at the ends, but more so, you even tend to get the wood swelling a little bit with temperature changes, and that can lead to a door sticking during some months out of the year. And as far as things that I don't like particularly, MDF is basically it's more glue and it's more processed wood product than actual wood, which means that when you cut it, you might not get splinters, but you do get a fuzzy edge. And if it should hit any moisture, like a water-based paint, it's likely to swell and stay that way too. So I'm getting around all of that by wrapping my MDF in vinyl. This is the white side is going to be contact paper. And you see, I cut it just a couple squares that probably comes to about 1 inch extra all the way around. And now I'm clipping out the corners. This is a good trick whenever you're wrapping anything so you don't get bulk in the corners, especially when you're working with miniatures where a little bulk can make the whole thing kind of not fit together as well. So I'm going to cut out these little squares right where the corner meets, right like that. And then I'm going to wrap it up just like a present. I actually really enjoy applying contact paper to things. I realize that that's another love-hate relationship thing for a lot of crafters. But I enjoy it because to me it's really satisfying to get it on smoothly and poke out all the bubbles. And so that's why I tend to go for this. So I'm going to start by pulling it really tight on the short end, pulling off the rest of the paper. Going to double check that I don't have any, giant bubbles in there. And then I'm going to pull the other short end really tight and stick that down. So now the bottom and top edges are covered. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the long edges, just pulling really, really tight so that I don't get a bubble around the edges either. And now we're going to repeat that same exact process using black vinyl on the other door panel. So the black side is going to be our exterior door. That's what's going to show on the front of the dollhouse. And I think it'll look really nice with the kind of black shingles that we've got going on there. White probably would have looked okay too, but I really wanted a white door for the inside because that will match the indoor trim. So we could stop here. Now we have a double-sided door, black on one side, white on the other, but I would like to make this more complicated. And to do that, I'm going to use my Cricut. And more specifically, to make our design come to life, I'm going to use Cricut Design Space. I am still learning how to use these tools, but as I always tell my kids, if you want to learn how to do something well, you have to be willing to do it poorly a bunch of times first. So I went on Cricut. They have all these graphics for a door, and this is the 6-panel design that I would like to use. I deleted one element that I don't need. That was the little door handle, because we're going to make our own door handle. Now I'm going to select all of it, and then I am going to size it to the front of my door panel. That's 6 3/4 inches tall, and it's just a hair over, I'm going to say like 2.62 wide. Now I'm going to select everything. You can see to the right that selects both elements, and I clicked slice. That means when I pull this away, my Cricut knows to just cut this gray section. Figuring out how to cut that out by hand would have taken a lot more time and honestly a lot more tears. So I am grateful. I am totally willing to pay the 99 cents for this design that comes with Cricut Design Space. Thank you so much. And then I am able to just set my base material to vinyl and let the Cricut do its work. Anytime now. Thank you. You can barely see the outline of where it is cut, but now I get to take this fun pokey-outy hook thing and weed it. So I just pluck out the little squares that I don't like, also extremely satisfying. Then I take some transfer tape and stick it down onto my weeded design, burnish it with this little burnishy tool, and peel it up. Now I haven't stretched out my vinyl at all. It's still the dimensions I want. I can stick it right back down onto my door. And here it is. It gives the appearance of having that dimension without actually changing the measurement, since I need this width of the door to be exact. I really like how that turned out. Awesome. Let's do this again, but this time for the black door. That was easy. Okay, so now that I have those two panels, it's time for us to work on our doorknobs. I have something particular in mind for that. I want them to look like metal. So I'm going to use 2 favorite household items. That would be some brads, these little brass brads. We have 6 billion of them, and mat pins. On my other interior doors, I use these really small ones that are to the right. But I'm thinking for this one front door, this exterior door, I want to use the ones to the left that are just slightly bigger. So we know what we'll use for the knobs, and then we're going to use these brads to try and make a little bit of a faceplate. When I look at these, the rounded edges at the bottom look to me like they could be the bottom of a fancy door faceplate. So let's give that a try. Just have that matte pin at the top as the knob. Another nice thing about working with brads is that you can cut them really easily. You don't have to get out the metal shears or anything like that. Just grab your fiskars and you are good to go. So that looks about right. And I'm even going to trim up the edges a little bit so it's a little bit of a rounded point on both edges. You're not even going to be able to see the top probably because I'm going to put the knob right over it, but I will know, and I will be pleased I was thorough. Okay. There we go. That looks pretty cute. So we're going to put that in position in between these 2 longer panels and to the right. Oh, that looks cute. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get our knobs in shape. We're going to have to cut these to size. And to do that, we will need our metal shears. So grip the pointy end with your needle nose pliers, clip the rounded end so that if something goes flying, it won't be something that could literally poke out an eye. And that should be short enough. So let's make our little pilot hole. I use this electricity gouger thing from when I electrified my dollhouse. It works great for all kinds of pokey projects. I'm sure you could also use a finishing nail and a hammer. But anyhow, my matte pen slips right through that hole. And now I'm going to make a pilot hole in my door using my gougey thing and try not to stab myself or my workspace. I succeeded in exactly one endeavor because now I have to get out my needle nose pliers and pull my pokey thing out of my work. Oh well, no blood this time, so that's a success. Now let's reassemble our doorknob and faceplate. No glue this time. We're not going to glue it down yet until we've dry fit it inside the door and made sure our dearly won pilot hole is in the right place. There we go. Oh, that's cute. Oh, I love this. This is going to turn out even better than I imagined. So let's make a hole on the other side. Note how I'm going to make these doorknob holes right next to each other because I'm going to glue these doors together so that the knob is to the right from the outside and also to the left on the other side. There we go. And then let's dry fit these in. And now we're going to add some glue. So I'm using my 3-in-1 glue. I think super glue actually might have been a better choice for this just because it is such a shallow hole, at least in the white door. And because I really need this pin to stay tight if anybody tries to use a fingernail on the doorknob to open and shut it that way. I'm hoping that the door will be a fairly tight fit in the door frame because I don't really want to use museum wax on it to keep it closed. But I guess we shall see. This is one of the ways that making dollhouse projects is very similar to all kinds of big size house projects. There's often a lot of work when you hang a full size door to shim it into place and make it exactly the right size so it stays put but isn't too stiff. So now I've got that centered. I'm going to let that glue dry for a little bit. And then my next step is going to be to install it in our existing door frame and around our existing hinge. So let me show you how we're going to do that. I turned the dollhouse around because we're going to need to install this from the inside. Here's the door jamb. It is really in there, and there's a bit of a lip, as you can see, that is going to keep the door from opening outward. And then here are the hinges. It's literally just 2 nails that are fastened really tight within the upper and lower parts of the door frame. So the reason we had to make this door in 2 panels is we need to glue it around the hinge. That's the way the first door worked. I had 2 pieces of plywood, you remember, and not only did I glue the plastic insert in the middle, but I also glued the hinge on either side. So I am sliding in the exterior door so that the middle side is to the back. I'm going to use some duct tape to fasten those hinges on to the back side of this exterior door. And that's going to keep it loosely in place for now. And it's pressed tight against that door jamb. It cannot open outward, but it is as far as it can be against that edge. Okay, hinges are in place, so it is time to give it a little bit of a test. I'm going to reach around to the front here and see if it swings inward. Well, hey, look at that. Okay, so it fits. It's a little snug. It's a little bit tight, but I kind of like that because I don't, like I said, I don't want this falling open. And we're in no danger of that. We can open it. It just takes a little bit of a oomph. So now we're going to get our interior side, and we're going to put glue all over that back side here. I even put a little extra on the edges where it's going to connect with the duct tape hinges. So I'm going to center that and smoosh it on. Whenever I see a little bit of a border of black, I'm moving it over because I want this door to be centered, the two panels to be really flat against each other. I'm going to press that for quite a while. And then I'm going to end up testing it again just to make sure that the width of this door, I don't think it will, but I don't want the width of the door to block it from opening. There we go. It's just right. The position on the hinge is perfect because now I can open it fully and the interior door is not hitting the jamb at all. And while, as you can see, the glue has pretty much set, I am going to set myself up for success here by using some alligator clips with some doubled over paper towel in between the clips and the door just to keep from it marking up the MDF. It's pressing really tight. After letting that stay for a couple of hours, I'm removing the clips carefully and the paper towel. And there we go. There's no marks on the door, but because it was clamped so heavily, this is completely flush all the way up and down. And that is the final result. Well, what I had hoped to create for this space was a door that had black on the outside, white on the inside, and the look of being a 6-panel door without actually changing the dimensions. And thankfully, it worked out even better than I thought it might. This is definitely encouraging me to get at my Cricut more and keep messing around and trying new things. And if you would like to join me for the ride, I hope that you'll hit like and subscribe and stay tuned for our next adventures. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.